I said, you will have, oh, okay. You will have the opportunity to ask questions, but in the event that you ask a question that we're not able to answer this evening, we know who to follow up with at a later time. So I'm starting to see some names and counties in there. So thank you very much. We have this evening, Kim is a regional community consultant. So she's going to be doing tech this evening. So if you have any questions or concerns, she will do her best to help you out with that. I don't know if she knows she was going to be tech support in that manner this evening. So surprise, Kim, you're helping out providers. She is also going to drop in the chat box really quick a Google document, which is similar to what you guys have seen before in learning community meetings, just asking for a little bit of information so we can report that to DCF. So she'll drop that in there. If at some point this evening you could make sure and fill that out, we would appreciate it. So our schedule for this evening is Playground is going to start. So we have Daniel with Playground that's going to start here in a few minutes. He's going to share some information. He's got a presentation about roughly 30 minutes that he's going to share here. And then you'll have 15 minutes to ask some questions of Andrew, or sorry, Andrew's his last name, Daniel, about Playground. If anything comes to you while he's doing the presentation, we do ask that you remain on mute. You're welcome to put something in the chat box, but please hold your questions until that last 15 minutes that Playground is presenting, just to make sure that he may answer some of those questions as he goes. So just drop those in there. And then at 7:40 this evening, Brightwheel will be joining us and they will do something similar. They will have a presentation about their software, and then you will have an opportunity to ask them questions as well. So does anybody have any questions before we get started? It's a wonderful Tuesday evening. We're all just glad to be inside with air conditioning. You guys are a quiet group this evening, but in all fairness, I did ask everybody to go on mute. So I guess that's what I get when I tell you to mute yourselves, right? So, all right. So Daniel, are you ready to? Okay.
Hi, everybody. All right, I'm Daniel with Playground. I'm the founder here. I'll be going through our system. I would love if you guys could write down questions and we can chat at the end about anything you might have. Going to start today with kind of our background and how we started Playground and kind of what kind of goals we're looking to achieve with our system as well. So my entire family is early childhood educators. My mom runs a center in California. She has about 400 students and it is absolute mayhem. And so we tried to help her as kind of that founding story, build out a system that could make running a childcare business just a little bit easier. She's also professor of early childhood education. She's taught literally tens of thousands of teachers, directors, of trainers in terms of early childhood education, health, safety, nutrition, management classes, the whole 9 yards. But then the rest of my family is also in early childhood education. My aunt runs a few preschools. My grandma is a preschool administrator. My sister's an occupational therapist within preschools. And then I have cousins who run family childcare businesses as well. So I've seen the whole entire piece of early childhood education. I actually spent many summers myself working within early childhood education, working with families, working with students, helping with some of the administrative tasks, and then also within the classrooms themselves too, working with the children. And Playground was born out of kind of trying to bring this technology that exists in a lot of these other industries to the early childhood education space to solve a lot of these problems that my family was having along lines of communication, along lines of enrollment. Chasing down parents for billing has never been fun for anybody. So we try to do all of these different aspects in terms of managing your preschool business in one contained software package. And we're very fortunate to have partnered with Child Careware in Kansas in order to offer that software system to you all. And so many of the different things that we built into Playground offer that kind of level of flexibility that I know that happen in all of your different programs. My mom's center operates very differently than my cousin's family childcare businesses, which operate very differently than my aunt, who runs a bunch of different schools. And so we try to bring that flexibility and that kind of awareness, as no two programs are alike, into the way that we built out Playground. So we're going to start off with giving a few other facts, and then we'll go into a product demo. I can give you an overview of some of the problems that we aim to solve or at least assist with. So there's a lot that goes into running a childcare business. There is so many things, from managing the enrollment piece to once families are enrolling, are they accepted? When do they start? What do they need to bring on the first day? Can I go and view the site? Once school started, what's my child doing? What are drop-off times? What holidays are coming up? Letting them know about schedule changes, paying tuition, managing food programs. All of these different things are kind of different aspects they have to do on a management level for running your preschool center or at-home program. And so we try to capture all of these different aspects together into one system, so you're not switching between all of these different things and moving data around. One thing we also know is that technology can sometimes be difficult and things might be changing. And so we try to make sure that we really focus on supporting you as you're getting ready to transition to using a technology platform or to our specific technology platform. We try to make it as friendly as possible. My grandma is 75 years old and she is brand new to technology and she is using Playground every single day. She just got a smartphone for the first time 2 years ago in 2021. But some of the ways that we assist with that here is we have extremely fast live chat support. If you have a question, you have a family in your office or at your home who's asking questions about how does this app work or how does that function, we're there essentially live. We want to be able to answer your question while that parent's still with you. So you can offer them that level of support. We aim to support you in the same way you try to support your families. The other things we have here are 250 guides and videos. I think now it's over 300, just going through every single different way that you could want to use the software, walking you through step by step. In addition, we're willing to hop on a call anytime. So if you need to have phone support or something else, we're there to stand by you and walk you through how to, build for your first families, how to handle enrollment. If you have questions in terms of communication, like what should this look like? We're there to offer guidance wherever it makes sense for us to do it. We're experienced in early childhood education. We come from a background of that as well. And so we are able to offer some of our advice there. Childcare Aware also has a bunch of their amazing RCCs to support with things like that as well. And then we're willing to, we are able to take all of the data that you have from any other system, even if it's paper and pencil, handwritten notes, and we'll bring that onto Playground as well. So that way your transition is as easy as possible. But we're here with you every single step of the way. We have a bunch of people nationally who are all using our software. We're very excited to partner in Kansas specifically. We've been adding a bunch of functionality specifically geared towards Kansas as well. And we'll walk you through that today as well. I'm going to hop into a quick product demo. So we'll go over some of the features. This isn't everything, but I'm going to highlight some of the things that we feel are most impactful for our providers in Kansas. Cool. So to start off, we're going to follow the kind of family journey in terms of how they interact with your school and how you can kind of manage those different aspects. So first, you have families who want to learn more about your program. Maybe you have some digital presence. Maybe you are talking to people in your community. Maybe you're on Facebook and you're sharing information there. One of the first things Playground does is we are able to give you a landing page. So to clarify, Playground is an app and a website. So I'm just going to demo the website portion today, but everything is available on the app as well. So first, you can see we have these different programs. So you can set up a full-time program, a re-enrollment program. You can set up like summertime as well. So if you have different enrollment processes that go over there, you can kind of customize all these different aspects. And as part of this, you're able to create a landing page for families to come and see that as well. So I'll show you here. I just copied the link for the full-time program. And then here you'll see that we give you a dedicated page. You can add your own photos, add your own information, add some information about your program here as well, some of your philosophy, if you have specific curriculum philosophy you want to share the admission process. This really helps to cut down a lot of questions about how do I set up tours, how do I come and visit, what kind of paperwork do I need to complete. You can put all that information here for families to get in one place. In addition, really key, we have this register button. You can let families come in and actually apply for your school online. And so based on your process you set up and all of that, families are able to go and enroll at your program. And I can actually walk you through what that looks like. They're going to register, they're going to create an account. So this way you'll be able to collect their phone number, their email address, all this different information for you to follow up and kind of collect that additional information from those families. So here I have some stuff to quickly fill it out for myself, but this Playground account will be populating on your dashboard. And so you'll have an ability to track that family, get their contact information, all of that. Here I have some example plans. So if you're charging for full-time tuition, part-time tuition, maybe that's 3 days a week or 2 days a week, maybe you have morning care, afternoon care, you can list out all of your different programs in here for families to apply to. If you're doing drop-in care, we're also able to support that as well. But these are just examples of different plans. If you have families that are on subsidies, you can also completely skip this page too, and you don't have to have them select any plans at all. Here, we have a full-on form for you to collect all the information for enrollment. Part of this is required for licensing, and so you can collect all of this. Maybe there's other information that you might want to collect as part of your enrollment process. We have a fill it out for me button, makes it very easy here. But you can go and collect all of this different information about families that you might need for any grants, subsidies, or anything else there. Next, and this is very key for a lot of schools as well that we work with or programs, is we collect a payment method. And this way you always have a payment method on file for families. So if there's any tuition payments, if there's incidentals that they might need to pay for, like extended care or extracurriculars, or if there's any fees that you might charge for supply fees or whatever else, you have a card on file for this family at all points. And this makes sure that there's never outstanding bills, and you can kind of ensure that you have that ability to charge families as needed. Cool. So what does that look like once a family applies? You get this whole dashboard, and you can manage your enrollment from here. So you have that landing page, families apply, and then you're able to see all of the different families that have applied to your program with their student information, all of that. Who's applied, who's waitlisted, who's accepted. You can move people between different aspects. You can move them into waitlisted, and you can send out all of these acceptances together. The really key thing here is when you're accepting families, you're able to set them up for the entire year. So the goal with Playground is that you should have all of the information set up for the year at once. So that way you don't have to keep going in there, adding different information, all those other things. So I'm going to take Anna, I'm going to go accept her. And here you'll see that I'm setting up their tuition. I'm able to add any other fees. So for example, if I have a supply fee, and let's say that's like $50 and that I use to buy classroom supplies, whatever else, I can add that in here. I'm able to see their application, so I can see whatever they wrote on their application there as well. If I want to add them to any programs, for example, I want to add them to my after school care program, I can enroll them in that as well. And you'll see that's there. And so I can set up that entire student, all their billing, their schedules, and everything within one place on Playground. And that's how that will work. All right, cool. So you have students, they've applied to your program, you've set up their enrollment, you've set up their schedules through all of this. Now you get a whole entire student screen. Here, this is a center, but if you only have 3 or 4 students at your home or whatever else, it'll expand to as large as you are, and also works for even very small providers as well. Here, you can click into students, you can track all of their information. You can see medications that they might have, medical conditions. You can track allergies, you can track all of this different information here. You're also critically able to track notes for families. So for example, family prefers not to be communicated with on weekends. You can kind of keep your own notes here. And let's say this is something only for the staff. You can keep track of all these different things that you might have on different students or families in order to keep everything in one place. And that way, also, if you have other staff coming in, substitute teachers, they're able to see these notes and they're able to get up to date on the families very quickly as well. So all of this is set up automatically through enrollment. The families will enter in their address, all of their other information here too. Once we've accepted them for enrollment, we're able to set up their entire billing for the year. This program specifically is billing, let's say $500 a month. You can bill weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. You can do weekly and monthly depending on your third-party billers. You're able to set all of that up in here too. And families, as well as you can go and generate these tax statements too. So that way at the end of the year for tax purposes, they're able to get all of their child care credits. And so they don't have to message you. This will go out to them automatically every billing cycle, either weekly, monthly, or however you're setting that up. But you can also go and create them at any point. And it will have a list of all of their charges and information that you can then use for tax purposes. And this sends out an invoice. One thing critically for our payments piece as well is that all of it is automated. So when families are setting up their enrollments, they're adding in a credit card or bank account, and it will automatically bill them for their monthly fee. And very cool also is we'll send out all the reminders. We'll send them a reminder 3 days before our bills due or whatever you set it to. We'll send them out their invoices. We'll send them overdue reminders. We'll automatically retry cards. We'll automatically send push notifications to families, letting them know that these payments are coming due or that their auto pay is going to be running. And so all of that should really be handled for you. And we truly think that billing for childcare should be really easy. And oftentimes you find that it's fairly difficult. And so what we try to do here at Playground is kind of take all that heavy lifting away from you, and the system just automatically sets it up. One other thing that we push for is that it should professionalize that service. Oftentimes it can be uncomfortable asking for payment. My cousins, they run their family childcare businesses, and they say that is one of their least favorite aspects of the business is collecting payments. And so the goal here is that we have that system in between, and it's the system charging you every week rather than you having to go in and manually bill everybody. We do have billing ability too, based on hourly, based on daily rates, based on all those other aspects as well. I'll say you should definitely set up a demo with Playground, and we can walk much more in depth with your specific program. And I'll link a QR code to that at the end as well, if you want to go over some of those aspects. Cool. The other thing that you get done during enrollment is paperwork. We have all of the students' paperwork files set up as like these are the forms and documents that they need to complete. I'll show you that in a little bit more depth. So we have student and staff paperwork. They function very similarly. We have 3 types. So the first one I'll go over is our documents. You have a paperwork packet, maybe there's 5, 10, 15, even 20 pages that families have to fill out during enrollment period, or all these different aspects of, for all these different aspects of care. Some of it's licensing related, some of it's a contract, some of it might be waivers for field trips, whatever it might be. With Playground, you're able to keep everything into one place. And really cool, I'll show you. We have all of the Kansas documents already set up within Playground system. So you actually don't need to add any of these own documents. You can just use these directly through Playground. You're also able to add any of your own PDFs in here as well. So if you have your own contracts, your own waiver that you want to use, and not any of these templated ones, you're welcome to as well. But here I'll show you, for example, I can click on like the CCL 010, and it already sets it up. And if you ever use DocuSign, it's very similar functionality to that, where you can go and add signature fields, you can go and add text fields, you can move them around, you can make them bigger, smaller, and you can do all of that functionality here. And parents, when they see this, will be able to come in and enter in their information. And so they can come in here and message like, I authorize Daniel Andrews, all of this other stuff. And you can go in and actually go and fill these forms on here. And it will create a PDF that is stored digitally within the student's essentially folder. And so we'll store all of that information for you forever until you tell us to delete it. And if there's any forms that you need to print out and share, if there's any forms that you need to print out, you're able to really quickly print them out over here. Just download them, print whatever else. And if there's new documents you add in the middle of the school year, you can also very quickly send them out to families as well. On the forms piece, this is similar to what I showed you in enrollment, but I'll just show you again really quick. You're able to set up your entire enrollment form. You can see all these different questions you might be asking about. For example, how did you hear about us? This is critical to collect during enrollment. So that way you can follow up on some of those ways that you're getting new families. Maybe you can double down on that. If it's Facebook has been working really well for you and a lot of your families are coming from there, you should know that, so that way you can continue pursuing more families from Facebook if you're looking to grow. But you can ask anything. For example, what is your favorite state? You can put short text, long text, phone number, email, date, drop down, single choice. So I'll let them choose one thing. I'll let them choose between 2 great options of Kansas and Kansas. And so they'll be able to go and select that. And what that looks like, this whole form here, and then you'll be able to see this is what families will be able to fill out with Playground. Cool. The last type of form that we have, or paperwork that we have, is a file request. Some things can't be done through Playground. Sometimes you need a doctor's signature, or maybe you need a physical signature or a stamp, something else. So we have these things called file requests. Families can download the file, and then they can go and upload it through the app or through the website. And then it's just a PDF drop here, or a picture drop, or whatever else it might be. Cool. So that is a lot of the setting up of the student. So essentially, most of these things are set up at the beginning of the year, then school starts. And so that's where a lot of the fun stuff happens. So I'll kind of walk through some of those aspects too. First, you'll have a calendar that you can share with school. So for example, here I marked the Kansas webinar that we're currently attending. And so I can have that event on my calendar and I can share that with the school. I'm able to go and add additional things as well. So I could say Thursday might be pizza day. And we might say like, bring pizza to pick up. And you can have all of those different things go on. And so that way you can create these different events, share them with families, and they'll kind of know what's happening at school. Additionally, any menus you might have will show up here. Any birthdays will also show up. So that way you're aware of what's going on. Cool. And then the next thing I want to show you in terms of like dates and times is schedules. So on the scheduling piece here, you're able to have all of your schedules for all of your students in here. You can have recurring schedules. Sometimes you might have students who are coming, 5:45 to 2:15, but then they're also coming on Mondays and Wednesdays late at night. So let's say 8 p.m. till 10:30 p.m. And so you can also have those additional schedules in here where it shows Mondays and Thursdays. I actually started this a little bit late. This only starts on this Wednesday, but you're able to kind of see that you can have these stack schedules as well. It's really quick to add absences here too. So if any students are absent, families can also mark their own students absent. So that way, you know, ahead of time what your staffing needs to be based on those absences, based on the schedules. We have the same thing for staff too. So you can go and see that information as well. Next, because we have all of the student and staff schedules, something really cool we have is forecasting. You're able to see your expected full-time equivalents for that classroom. And so you can see these different classrooms, how many student equivalents you're going to have. And you might know that your capacity for a classroom is 12 or 16, maybe for your school it's 12. And then through that, you're able to see, okay, where am I ranking against that full-time equivalence? And maybe you set some standard, like I want to have 75% of my FTEs, so 9 out of 12. You can also see throughout a day what your expected attendance looks like, so that way you can go and track what kind of staffing you need. Or maybe if one student needs to be dropped off early, you have a teacher or yourself have to get up a little bit early to go and track that. And this is an easy way to see day by day when families are coming. Cool. So the other thing I want to show you guys today is the parent engagement piece. So communicating with families day by day. We have two main ways to do that. First is the feed. And so here, for example, I just recorded that absence, so it's in here. But you're able to create posts, you're able to create all of these different messages to families. And so, for example, you could say, July 4th was so fun. And you can go and attach photos, you can attach videos, you're able to add any PDFs or documents you have, maybe flyers. You can select recipients, maybe you want to send this out to the whole school, maybe you actually just want to send it to people in after school care who came. And you're able to send out app notifications, emails, text messages, kind of like Wolf from The Office. Have you ever seen that? Where you get the fax machine, you get all these different things. So depending on like the urgency, you're able to send out all these different types of communication. So you could post this. I'm not going to add any photos and stuff right now, but we're going to send that out. One cool thing too is if you have templates, you're also able to create templates where you can automatically set up things. So for example, let's say we have a birthday notice one. I'm going to go and add that. And it will automatically pre-fill some of this text. This is obviously a short one, but if you have like announcements weekly that go out that are templated and you just kind of fill in the blanks, this is an easy way to manage that. And the other thing that we have here too, in order to like really customize for your school, is these custom posts. So you can create like your own accident report posts, your own incident reports, medications. So let's say on a medication report, you can choose the icon. We chose a pill here. You can choose whatever you'd like. You can add a little form. So for example, let's say you want to collect information on how many or whatever else, you can add text, single choice, multiple choice, and let this happen. And then something like medication, you might want to have an administrator approve before it goes out. And so you can kind of optionally select to have that as well. So feed is really one-way communication. It's sending out announcements and alerts to families. It's sharing photos. It's communicating out. If you want to have a conversation, we have a whole chat functionality as well. You can start a conversation with anybody. This is kind of a silly one. You can share photos, videos, anything else in here as well. You can start one-on-one with an individual parent. You can start a group chat with several parents. You can start a group chat for an entire school or classroom. Or maybe it's just like an after-school program group chat. And you can share photos, videos, all of that in here as well. It'll show up as an app notification on your phone, similar to you receiving a text message. And so this is an easy way if you don't have someone's contact information to still get that message out. Or if you want for parents to message you, you can optionally let them start conversations with you as well. As an administrator, you also have a little bit of control. You can see all of the different chats that are going on, even if you're not included. And so that way you're able to kind of get a feel for what's happening, especially if you have like a substitute teacher and you want to track what they're doing as well. Cool. Next thing I want to show is our more of our billing and expense management piece, two of the financial sides of the things that we offer. So on the billing side, we offer a bunch of charts and graphs and stuff to kind of manage your business. You can see, I'll turn this on for a second. You can see all of these in here, see what's going on. You can create saved items. So that way, if you're billing for tuition, you just kind of have it fixed and handle it all over there. One cool thing, like I was mentioning before, we have this kind of statements tab with autopay, and you can see who's turned on or turned off autopay. In this demo school, there's nobody, but in this case, you see somebody was added it in here and you can see. You're also able to filter down by who's unpaid or overdue exclusively, and you can go and handle those individually. What we find is that when people use Playground's enrollment, everybody has a credit card on file or some type of payment method. And so we tend to see very few overdue payments. Everyone's paying on time because autopay runs and it collects all of the payments for them at once. And so here you can see people who are unpaid, people who still have a balance outstanding for the month. Hopefully most of them will pay by the end of the month. And then also you can see overdue, who still needs to pay. But this way it gives you a very easy way to track what's going on within your school. We also have a subsidy piece for third-party billing. So if you're collecting, state tuition or CACFP, whatever else, you're able to really quickly add deposits, record all this information about who received how much, and then if it was incorrect or correct based on all of that. And so that way it's easy to kind of track all of that third-party billing piece as well. So that's on the billing side. And then on the expense management side, so this is all of your expenses at the school. Actually, let me turn on this really quick in case you are a family childcare. First, we have a very easy time space calculator. So you can go and enter in all of this information and we'll help you calculate your time space percentage for tax purposes. But then also you're able to go and track all of your expenses. So if you're purchasing food for the food program, if you're purchasing supplies or materials, all of that, like a new rug for one of the rooms, you're able to create those. And then you're also able to classify those expenses as well as a business expense, or maybe it's a rug and you want to do time space percentage. And we're able to categorize all of those across those different categories. And you can even add your own categories as well if we're not already tracking it, or if you want to be more granular than the system's defaults are. You can also see your spend over month too, to kind of see how you're tracking against previous months to make sure that you're not spending too much, and track all of that there. But then really cool is we have Playground credit cards, and you can actually get yourself a credit card shipped directly to your address, and you're able to literally go and spend money from Playground's credit card. And every time you swipe your card, it will automatically track and categorize that expense. So if you go to the supermarket and you buy food for your school, it'll automatically add that to Playground, and it will send you a push notification to take a picture of your receipt. So that way, if you're in a hurry or you kind of forget about the receipt, you get that notification that reminds you just to quickly snap that photo so you have it for the record keeping. So that way you don't have to remember later. It also makes taxes at the end of the year significantly easier. Cool. One or two more things I'll go over and then we'll open it up to Q&A. But first, lesson plans. So if you have a bunch of classrooms, great, we show you an easy view. If you have one classroom, you're just operating out of your home, let's say, it's also just a quick view to see over the week what's going on, and you can switch between weeks over here. And then you can create lesson plans as well here. So you can create all of your different ones. For example, let's say you do a science discovery one. You're able to set it up however you'd like with your different activities. For example, a morning activity, an afternoon activity. You can also do like stations. So if it's like station 1 that you have and station 2, you can kind of create these as you'd like and set up all these different activities that you're doing. Share these out with families if you'd like to. Also, your staff can go and create these and handle them there as well. And then these lesson plans are made up of different activities throughout the week. And so here you can see all of the different activities you've created. So maybe some of them you reuse throughout the year. Sometimes you create new ones, but you're able to go and create all of these, manage all of this, add some media as well if you have like any PDFs or things that you want to share with families too. Great. One or two more things I'm going to share and then we'll go to Q&A. First, I want to show you staff. So on the staff side, if you have a bunch of staff, we can track them. Even if it's just you, sometimes you might want to track your own hours, your own schedule here as well, for reporting purposes, for taxes, or whatever else. So you can track all of your signing history and all these different things that reminds you to clock in and out. And this gives you a very accurate picture of who is at work. Also, if you're tracking the billable amount, you're able to see how much money this person is getting paid every day. And we have reporting for payroll purposes as well. And then we have staff trainings as well, if you want to use that to keep to record all of that information. Last two things. First is reports. We're able to collect attendance. So through the app, parents are able to either scan a QR code and track their attendance with a signature that way. We give every family a PIN code and they're able to enter that in to record attendance. You are able to, as an administrator, record attendance as well. So you can generate all of your, oops, let me go back a day. I don't think there's any attendance for Happy Hands today. You are able to get all of your different signatures and you can go and print this out or email it to yourself and use that for licensing. And so all of those reports are accepted. We have a whole bunch of different reporting depending on what kind of things you need as well. So there's a lot of different things in there. But we have all of these different types of reports. All of them have a bunch of different things. For example, I'll just go through a few other ones. If you want to get like an emergency contact report here, you can print this out, leave this in the classroom. per student. If you want to go and create like an enrollment report, here's like a really quick enrollment summary, how many new applicants you've gotten. And so you can kind of track the growth of your program as well. Critically, also, we have a custom report option. And so you can go and create your own reports. Whatever you're using to manage day to day, you can go and collect like the student first and last name. Maybe you want their allergies and medications. Maybe you want the father's zip code, and you want to know from the Happy Hands full-time program what their favorite state is. And so you can go and create that report and run it anytime. So sample report. Let's go done and finish. And so you can go and run this report anytime you need and get that updated stuff. So maybe this is something you're running weekly or monthly, depending on whatever reporting requirements you may have, but it's very flexible and it handles all those different aspects. I'll just show you really quickly also what it kind of looks like to check students in and out on the website. Again, you can do this on the mobile app. It's much easier. Sometimes people will do this on the website though. You can go and just draw a little signature and say it's recording for today. And you'll see that I can go and check them in or out. And then also over here, just to note, you can very quickly see who's active, who signed in, signed out, all these different things in here as well. Cool. That's Playground as a platform. I'll highlight some stuff that's like a little bit separate than the day-to-day and just kind of show you how serious we are about our interactions with you. I mentioned like Help Center and live chat before. What does that actually look like? So on the app and on the website, we have this little icon. You can go over here and message us. You can also go over here and look up articles. So if you want to help with like attendance, you'll see that we have just a ton of attendance articles that you can go and get help from. You can also send us a message through here as well. The other thing is we're very serious about feedback. And so we have a very easy feedback modal here as well. Send it in, our entire team sees it. And so if you have requests, if you have concerns, if you have any kind of information here that you want to know, you can put it in here and someone will reach out. So this alerts the entire team. So it could be, this page is cool. And we'll appreciate that feedback. Maybe you have other feedback though, and we'll take that very seriously as well. So you're able to do all of that. Again, we link to our help center, and I'll just show that briefly as well. You can click through here and kind of get an overview of all these things. What is Playground? How to sign in, filter students, all these different things are kind of in here. But yeah, so hopefully very easy to kind of track, go over and see. Cool. So that's it for that piece. We'll answer more questions during the Q&A, but I know that we had a few questions beforehand. I'm just going to quickly address them as well, and then we can hop into that. So how much does the subscription cost when Child Care Away of Kansas no longer pays for it? So through the program, you're getting at least 14 months free. After the program, we have two fixed costs. It's for in-home programs, it's $50 a month. For center-based care, it's $140 a month. And that is the price monthly. And that covers everything within Playground. And so you get all of that functionality I demoed before, plus more, plus that app, plus all that support, onboarding, all those other things, that's all included. Is there a cost for families to use the app or a service fee for making payments online? So there is no cost for parents to use the app. With that fee, you get unlimited administrators, unlimited staff, unlimited families, unlimited students. That is an all-inclusive price. There is a fee for making payments online, and you can either pay them yourself or you can pass those on to parents. It's 3% and 30 cents for credit card and $1 flat for ACH. Now, I want to say that is the only price you'll pay. There's no overdraft fees. There's no refund fees. There's no failed payment fees. There's no dispute fees. There are no other fees involved with using Playground billing other than those credit card and ACH fees. And so oftentimes that makes your revenue a lot more predictable because we're covering those fees. We're still incurring them, but because we are just charging a flat rate, you'll know how much money you're bringing in every single month. So do families or providers have to pay to download the app? No, there's absolutely no other fee other than that monthly charge. If I have another CCMS and want to switch, how easy is it to move my data over? If you're coming from another software provider, it is likely that our software will automatically upload it for you. And so we have a button in order to upload your attendance. Oops, I'll show you over here. Upload multiple students via roster. If you're able to pull a roster from another software, as Excel, whatever else, it likely already works with ours already. If it doesn't, if it's paper, pencil, if it's on an Excel sheet, if it's something and you're running into some issues, our team will help you upload all of that data. We're committed to making sure that we can get as much of it as possible. We know that there's already a lot of initial time costs with getting started with the software, and we want to make sure that those are as small as possible to you and we'll do all of that data migration on our end. Is there an additional cost to use curriculum or lesson plans? So we do not offer any outside curriculum. So there's no additional cost. Everything is all inclusive for Playground. Cool. That's the end of my presentation. I know there's probably a bunch of questions. This QR code right here will take you to our dedicated Kansas page with a lot more information on the program. And you can sign up right now and sign up for Playground. And that's all you really need to do to start the program. If you sign up with an account, someone will reach out if you want. And we'll give you more information. We can set up a specific demo with you and go over your program, your needs, and kind of work through how this software will look at your own program and go through that. But yeah, it's tryplayground.com/Kansas, or you can scan this QR code. Cool. How is Q&A working? Should I go through chat or?
So we do have a couple of questions that have popped up in the chat box. So either myself or Montana can read them to you and then you can answer them. The first question we had is, so does it auto bill? So can you auto bill parents? What does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll kind of show you, I'll just demo it here really quick. So let's say I click onto a student. You can bill for multiple students as well, but I'll just show you an example for one. I can create a debit. I can create this through enrollment, or I can create it directly through their profile, and I can create a billing plan. So let's say I want to choose tuition, let's say 2023 tuition, and let's say I'm billing $100 per week. Or actually, yeah, I think I'm on monthly for this student in particular, but in general, you can do that. Let's say it's $100 per month, but you can do it however you'd like. You can go and set this up for the whole year. And so for the whole year, it'll automatically add that $100 to their balance, and then it'll be due at the end of the month. And so if you want to bill before care, you can bill before that. So like if you want to bill for the month of August, you can do that here. And then I'll just save this item, and I can press continue, create charges, and this will create that billing plan on that student. The student now has 2 billing plans, but let's say maybe one of these is for school day and the other one is for recurring for after school program, and those are separate charges. Here you can see which payments they've paid, which they haven't. Our invoices will go out automatically, and so I'll show you the settings here as well. So you can set up these settings for it to be monthly by default or weekly by default, depending on how you're setting up students. You can choose your bill date. You're able to set up when these statements go out. You're able to set up overdue reminders if those should go out. You can get notifications for all of these different payments that are being made. You're able to choose all of these different options, and you can kind of configure Playground to work with your school. I will say, sometimes this is confusing, and we understand that. And that's why we offer that one-on-one support when you're first getting started, and forever. But like, especially when you're first getting started, we'll sit with you for all of these settings and make sure that it makes sense based on how you're currently running your program. Cool.
The next one on here is, can you print your reports for your accountant? So you were showing some of the reports that are available. Can you print off like tax related things at the end of the year?
Yeah, so all of our reports are exportable. So like your payment report, let's say you have aging report, whatever else you want to use here. You're able to email it to yourself. You can also email it to another person. Let's say you want to add your accountant in here, and they'll receive that email too. You can go and print it, and we'll, obviously let you print it out. You can also turn this into landscape or portrait, whatever you want, whatever's easier for you to kind of use. And then you can also export it, and it will download a CSV immediately. And so that way you're able to just send that over. And we have reports for pretty much everything. The other thing I really want to highlight here is pretty much every single table has this download view. You're able to kind of set up your filters, set up your sorting, set up all of that information, and then press download. And you can download anything you see in Playground. So if you want to download all of your transactions, all of that information, you can do that too. But yeah, especially for accountants, I know oftentimes that's something that is commonly exported to be used for tax purposes. Absolutely.
So the next question is, do you have to have a signature to sign a child in and out?
So I don't want to speak too much there, but you're able to set up all of these things. So one of the main philosophies behind Playground is that we know that every program is run differently, and we want to be flexible to meet your needs. So let's say for the Caterpillars program, I don't want to have any signatures for drop off, but I want to require them for pickup. I can do that. I can also switch it. I only want to have signatures during drop off, or I could just have no signatures at all. And through that, you can see I can adjust that, and that will remove the requirement for a signature during pickup, drop off, or whatever else.
The next question on here was, what was the percentage again? I think that was related to the credit card payments.
Oh yeah, sorry. So here our percentages are, it's available everywhere for everybody. So depending on who's paying the fee, it'll always be apparent. But credit card is 3% and 30%, and ACH is $1 per transaction flat. And again, that's all inclusive. It does not, there's no other fees you will be paying.
Then the next one on here is food reimbursement programs use kid care. Will I have to enter info twice? Can menus be entered? Are feeds seen by everyone? Okay, there's a couple questions in here. Can we backdate into info to the first of the year?
Sorry, so first question's around the food program?
Yeah, so food reimbursement program uses kid care. Will I have to enter info twice?
So great question. One thing that we're working on with some of the sponsors in the state, and I can't make any promises here, but one thing that we're working on with the sponsors is for the playground reports to be accepted by those sponsors. And so we're currently engaging with a few of them. We're looking to talk to more of them. We currently do run CACFP. You're able to create your meals. You're able to set up all of your tiering. For example, if you're family childcare based or if you're center based, you're able to do free reduced paid and manage all of that. We have a whole host of reports around CACFP, ones that look very similar to the sponsors we've talked to currently in Kansas. However, we haven't talked to all of them. We would love to talk to more sponsors, but the goal is that we're able to manage all this. This is something very actively being worked on. And so hopefully I'll have a better answer for you with a very strong yes very soon. But right now, this is something that we're working with many of the sponsors in the state on. One thing I want to note, we have, if you go to our website, let me see, go to Playground. So this is our website. Also, you can click this button right here to get that free software link. But if you scroll down, you'll see that we have a changelog, and this comes out every single week on Monday. You'll be able to see all of the different things that we're launching every single week. There's a lot. We add a lot of new things every week. Food program is something that's very actively being developed and worked on, and we should hopefully have like resounding yes. Right now, it's like a kind of a thumbs up, but yeah, sorry, that's a long answer to kind of right now.
So you were kind of showing it there. So menus can be entered by programs.
Yeah, you can create your entire menu on here. You can go and print this out, share this with families. They're able to see it on the schedule, on the calendar, on the app, and on the website. You're able to report on your meals as well. You're able to manage all of that through Playground. Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I'm understanding this question right. So Glenda, if I'm misunderstanding, please let me know. But are feeds seen by everybody? Are you asking, like, can they report how much a child was feeding or eating? Or are you referring to the feed like the one that Daniel has up on the screen?
I meant the one that he was showing where you can have a feed where everybody can see it, or
Okay.
where you can input information.
Okay, so like the one that's on the screen right now? Then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So with every post you create, you can select who can see it. So I can share a post with all students, or I can share it with a specific classroom or 2 classrooms. Let's say these are my 2-year-old classrooms and I just want to make an announcement to my 2-year-old classrooms. I can do that. I'm able to share it with specific programs. If I want to, I can also select specific students. Let's say I have, I'm able to just do it like this. So for example, Samuel, I can go and just select Samuel and he'll be the only recipient and only he will be able to see that. It'll include myself as well, but it'll just be me and him who can see that post.
And then Glenda, you also had the question, can we backdate info to the first of the year? Are you talking like expenses and that kind of thing for tax purposes, or what? I'm not sure what you're
Right. So when we send the information to the parents at the end of the year, they would know what they paid for the whole year.
Yeah. So one cool thing, let's say, so if you have that data somewhere, we'll do our best to import. Again, like we're a very white glove in that capacity. We'll try to add that for you everywhere. The one thing I want to note as well is you're totally able to do it yourself as well. So if they had payments that they made in the past, like offline payments, online payments, whatever, you can go and record that. So for example, let's say they paid you $200 in cash all the way back in February. Let's say February 6th, they handed you $200 in cash and you're taking that from another system. You're able to record that and it will be marked in here as well. And so it'll update that ledger live. And so they'll be able to see it. Because I can also then add those debits from the past too. So like any charges. So I can go back in time and create like a supply fee. Let's say that was $200 that was due back in February. And so you're able to have that entire thing and they'll be able to see all of that too. And that'll be recognized in here.
Okay, so then the next question, is there any type of guide they can download or print?
Guide on how to use Playground?
Yes, like how to do, enter all the information, do all this stuff.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of like onboarding or like, you know, student data. All of this stuff is in here. And then like onboarding FAQ, for example, you can see some of our questions here. We have a few videos and then we have also a bunch of like help center articles. We'll also do it one-on-one if you want as well. But yeah, it's a lot of that's in here. And then we also have this get started page to help you set up. And so there's a lot of like walkthroughs here specifically on adding students, setting up payments, adding your staff, and then setting up family paperwork. And so we have guides and links and all of that. One other thing to note too, on every single page, there's a how to get started, which will take you to the help center. So for example, here, how to get started is how to add students on the student page. You can watch a video and this will open up a specific video that you can go and watch. And then we also have webinars weekly and you can go and sign up for a webinar that we're hosting. And so student webinars, for example, or attendance webinars are Mondays. And so you can go and sign up for one of those. So depending on how you best learn, if it's text, if it's videos, if it's webinars, you're able to sign up for all of that, or you can meet with someone on the team one-on-one.
So the next one in here is, will it generate a Schedule C?
So for that report, it depends on how you set up your categories. So if you set up your categories aligned with Schedule C, it will. We don't actually print it out onto the Schedule C. You'll copy over that information essentially. But on the expenses, yeah, we have that kind of reporting that will show you per category how much money was spent for that year. So that way you can go and enter that on your Schedule C accounting, on your Schedule C reporting.
Okay. Sorry, the chat boxes, they're popping in more questions, so I'm trying to track along here. So the next one on here, will Playground be a good tool to replace QuickBooks?
It depends on how you do your accounting. It depends on like how complicated some of your billing is. We have had many providers who use QuickBooks stop using it once they use Playground, and they just use Playground for all of their reporting. I will put a little asterisk here. There are some things people use QuickBooks for that we do not completely cover. So that kind of depends. Again, we're very actively developing the system. And so pretty much every week we're capturing more of what QuickBooks does within the system. So it's like a half yes, half no, depending on what you're using it for. Again, meet with someone on the team and we'll walk you through it. And it'll be kind of up to you to see if that's enough to cover QuickBooks. If not, we'll take that feedback and we'll work on it. So that way, hopefully we can replace QuickBooks in the near future.
And then the next question on here was about what program are you referring to receive the 14-month promotion? So what Daniel was referring to is Child Care Aware of Kansas will pay for your first 14 months. So we'll cover the cost of your subscription for the first 14 months. We can, if you're a licensed child care provider, there is, Daniel, can you explain how it works when they go to your website and how they would register?
So you can either scan this QR code here, go to tryplayground.com/Kansas. I'll show you what that, let me go over here. Sorry, I have a lot of pages open. So I can go to tryplayground.com. It will take me over to here. You'll see this little red banner. You can click on that. And then you can claim your free subscription. You can press this big button. It's kind of hard to miss, and claim your free subscription. You'll sign up, create an account, and that's how you can get started.
I will add like a little catch-22 to that, if you will. there is a process between Playground and Child Care Aware of Kansas where we have to verify your eligibility for that promotion. So it's not like an instant kind of thing. I'm not sure right now. Montana would probably be able to speak a little bit better to it, how quickly that happens. So just a heads up, if you decide to go this evening and do that, it may take a couple of days for us to verify things before that takes effect. So just like I said, catch-22 on that one.
I will say on our end, we do give the benefit of the doubt. We will give you that free subscription until we're told not to anymore. So it does make it so it's easy for you to get onboarded. But yeah, we will wait for the verification until we absolutely confirm that it is that free 14 months. But until that verification happens, we will give you the benefit of the doubt on our end, just so that way you can get started when you want.
So the next question, for the children's files are all digital. So it's asking a question as far as annual review when the surveyor comes in and wants to look at the files. I'm going to say on that one that you will need to check with your surveyor and see if they will accept the digital files or if you need to have them printed. But I will ask Daniel, I'm assuming they can print off all those files and forms that they have for children if need be, if that's what the surveyor wants.
Yeah, everything within Playground is reportable, exportable, printable, whatever you have it. So for example, if I go into Nora's file and I need to go find her paperwork, it's all right here. I guess she doesn't have anything filled out in this case, but in the paperwork tab, let's just say, I can go in here and print out my accident reports. If I need it for a specific student, I can go here and download it and go and print it. And so that way it's manageable through here. So yeah, if you need access to any of those files, it's always available to you.
Yeah, so, but again, double check with your surveyor to see what their preference is. Will they accept it if it's digital, or do they require paper? We just want to make sure that they're getting the information the way they need it. So, and then for the staff files, is there a place for all training certificates? So can they record when they attend training, their certificates? Can that all be on Playground as well?
Yep. There's a few ways to do it, so it depends on how you actually track it. But for example, you're able to add trainings over here and upload files to track that. If you track minutes and hours as well, which I believe a lot of people will do in order to make sure that people have reached their amount of hours for trainings, or maybe sometimes it's covered in payroll as well for attending those, you're able to upload a file, upload the certificate, track all of that information directly on the staff profile.
Then the next question, on kid care, we can track hours worked when children aren't in care, such as like this Zoom call right now. Can they do that in Playground as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's say me and Daniel was here today after work. So let's say I was here from 7 till 10, 11. And then I was here for this webinar from 6:30 p.m. until, let's call it 8 p.m. I can go and save that in here and it will track and it will be all reporting on. And so, the other thing I wanted to show there as well is you can go and report on that payroll piece as well. And you can track this daily staff hours and the total staff hours as well.
And then the other question in here, I think, is one that you've answered. If they're using another program, everything can be transferred, like payments, etc., from one program into the other. So Montana, did I miss any questions? Or does anybody have any other questions?
There is one more. She has a current CCMS and wants to switch for the new year. She says, will I qualify for the program in December so it'll be 100% ready for the new year?
So at this time, Child Care Aware of Kansas, we are not able to do that. So if you are currently using Playground and decide to move to Brightwheel or vice versa, you cannot move from, well, you are welcome to move from one platform to the other, but we cannot switch subscriptions. So if you start with Playground, we will cover 14 months with Playground. If you start with Brightwheel, we will cover 14 months with Brightwheel. You can't switch and have us cover the cost of that. We're not set up to be able to do that. So you're welcome to do it, but you're no longer eligible for us to cover the subscription there. There any other questions? Anybody want to come off of mute? Daniel's got 2 minutes left to answer questions.
So even if Childcare Aware isn't currently paying for the program that we're using, you're not able to switch?
If we're not currently paying for it and you choose to switch over, then we will be able to do that as long as it's Brightwheel or Playground. Those are the only two that we're funding. But if you have, say you choose Playground and for whatever reason, 2 months down the road, you decide you want to switch to Brightwheel, we can't cover that switch. We're not able to do that. So if you pick Brightwheel or Playground, once your subscription starts, we will only cover 14 months with one vendor, one platform. We cannot switch over. So just to clarify, if they use the full 14-month free subscription, then switch, is it then covered? At this time, we're only covering 14 months. For subscriptions, that's all that we were given funding to be able to cover. We are looking as an agency as a whole at ways that we can continue to make this sustainable for providers. But at this time, the only thing we are doing is the 14 months. I really can't confirm or deny, however you want to say it. I can't say what will happen at the end of that 14 months at this time. Any other questions for Daniel before he has to hop off?
Will the employees be able to clock in and out using the QR code as well?
Yeah, absolutely they can. You can also turn that off if you don't want that to happen. But in general, there's a QR code that could be shared between both students checking in and staff checking in. Just print that over here. You can also open it up on the app and have access there, but very quick. Otherwise, just wanted to say thank you, everybody. You all have been great. Again, we're around anytime, happy to answer any questions. We can set you up with a demo, go more in depth with your own situation. We're also happy to do a full onboarding with you and transfer over all that data, go through everything. Also, if Playground's not the right fit right now, it might be in the future. We're actually very actively developing. Again, I really implore you to go and check out our changes every week. If you sign up for more information, we'll also share those with you weekly as well. So you can see maybe there's something that solves one problem that's really been giving you an issue. Feel free to reach out with those problems as well and let us know. And we do take your feedback seriously. We even have a public roadmap where you can go and see what we're kind of working on, what people are requesting. People are very active there, commenting, giving feedback.
Hey, Daniel, on the program where it's going to be $50 a month after your 14 months is free, a free is over, will that increase? The reason I'm asking is because right now I have kid care and they transferred over from Minute Menu. So I pay $8 a month for my program now. And I'm just it's nice because this one's an app, but is that going to increase?
We have the intention of keeping that price for the next several years. I can't speak 5-10 years down the line, just because that's far out. But for the next several years, yes, it will be that flat rate.
Okay.
So I just want to take a really quick minute and thank Daniel for sharing information. Not to cut anybody off at this point or anything. If you guys have any more questions for Daniel or about Playground, you're welcome to drop them in the chat. If something comes to you after you're done, you're welcome, or after we're done here this evening, you're welcome to reach out to your regional community consultant, let them know what questions you have. There are some things that we may be able to answer. If we can't, then we meet with Daniel on a bi-weekly basis, so we can definitely pass those on. We can also send emails if we need to, but I do want to be respectful of everybody's time here and give Brightwheel an opportunity to share as well. So we'll go ahead and cut off the Playground questions for now. But again, if you still have them, drop them in the chat, reach out to your regional community consultant, and we will get those answers for you. So thank you very much, Daniel, for joining us this evening, and we will see you tomorrow at nap time.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Okay, so just a couple of really quick reminders because I do believe Brightwheel is on with us. Kim, did they?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, sorry, it's everybody's face keeps bouncing around, so I can't keep track of everything. So just a couple of reminders really quick. Again, just like we did with Playground, Katie with Brightwheel is going to share some information. She's got 30 minutes or so to share her presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We do ask that you stay on mute while she's presenting. Some of your questions she may potentially answer during her presentation, but you are welcome to drop them in the chat. And just like we did with Playground, we will make sure to get through those questions to give Katie a chance to respond to those. If you have not already, or if you missed it at the beginning of our presentation or of our meeting this evening, Kim has dropped a Google form link in the chat for you. If you'll take just a minute or two and fill that out, that's information that we ask of providers every time we do a learning community meeting or anything like this. It's we use that to report back to DCF. So again, if you'll just take a few seconds, fill that out. But I will go ahead and turn it over to Katie so she can start her presentation and share with us about Brightwheel this evening.
Well, thank you all for having me. I'm really excited to be here with you today. My name is Katie. I run our state partnerships team. And so I'm going to dive into the Brightwheel platform. I always like to share just a little bit of background of where we came from before I get started. So you can see here on the left-hand side a photo of a group of children at an early education program. In the back here, you can see a girl with a little purple headband. That's actually Serena, Dave, our CEO and founder's daughter. And she really is the inspiration behind the creation of Brightwheel. And so at the time, Dave was actually working for Amazon on Kindle products. And so he was helping to build Kindles. And he dropped his daughter off at her first early education program. And he says when he would go to pick her up, he tells this story often in our company meetings, but he would say, "Serena, what'd you do today?" And her response would be, "Nothing." And she'd, they drive home. The next day, "Serena, what'd you do today?" She'd say nothing, and they'd drive home. And finally he said, "Oh my goodness, I can't take it anymore." And so he ended up leaving Amazon to build the first version of the Brightwheel platform. And so you can see on the right-hand side here, he actually got the permission of Serena's provider to observe her day-to-day. And he was able to see, wow, a million hats, that she wears throughout the day and a lot of support that she needs to run her program. And so it grew from what was just going to be a parent communication tool to what Brightwheel is today, this truly all-inclusive, all-in-one platform that programs can use to run their business. And so the initial version looked like what you can see on the right-hand side of my screen here. And then Dave actually took that version to Shark Tank. So if there are any Shark Tank fans in the audience after this session, I would encourage you to look on YouTube and just watch the little 10-minute clip. You can really get a good understanding of, where we were 8 years ago compared to where we are today. A little bit of a spoiler alert, but you'll see that we did end up getting funding from Shark Tank. You can see Mark Cuban on the little bottom corner here. And that was really what led to the transition to where we are today, being used in all 50 states as well as globally. And recently we became the #1 most highly rated early education platform on the market. So we're really, really grateful for the progress there and to be able to support you all. So before I go into some specifics about the platform, I always like to share this screen because I think it really kind of grounds us in everything that comes with the Brightwheel platform. I always divide it into these two sections. So engagement, how do I engage my families? And then management and operations, how do I actually run my business? And when you combine both these things together, you get the all-in-one Brightwheel platform. And so there are a lot of questions on how do I actually go about getting my program set up? And so one really awesome thing about Brightwheel is we have this roster upload tool. So if you have any information about your existing children, even if it's just a photo of their names or their parent contact information, or it could be an Excel spreadsheet, or you could be transitioning from another platform, you can actually just upload the information that you have here. You basically drag and drop it, and the Brightwheel team is able to input all of that information for you. So by the time you attend your first one-on-one onboarding session, you are ready to go, and the platform is all set up with all the information that you need. You can also see student files here. So this allows you to add even more information. So if you do have additional information, you can also upload that in the roster upload tool, and we will input this and create the student files for you. So these are just some examples of the fields that you can fill out. Another really awesome thing about Brightwheel is you can actually turn on the ability for approved family members to maintain this information. So rather than you as the provider having to keep it up to date, you can give them permissions to go in and maintain this information. So to take that pressure off of your plate. Once you have it set up, this should become your sort of home for your daily operations. So this is an example of what it would look like when you log into your Brightwheel platform. You can see today's dates. You can see any upcoming birthdays for students as well as your staff members. You're able to see real-time ratios. So if for whatever reason you're not on site at a current moment, you could just pull up your Brightwheel app. You can see here, oh, the infant room looks like it's out of ratio. I have to either send a note to a staff and make sure we move someone to a different classroom, or I have to try to get another staff member in here. It's a really good way to just make sure you're maintaining your ratios. You can also set those parameters on your own based on how you run and organize your business. You can also see here on the bottom today's logged activities. So if you have a lot of students, this is a great way for you to make sure that every family member is getting an update and that you've remembered to log an activity for all students. Okay. And then attachments. So I know there were some questions for Daniel about this, but we also have very similar features where you can store paperwork, so PDF files that you need for licensing, for example, under the student's profile. You can also set expiration dates here. So if you often find yourself with, files that have expired, and you may get in trouble with licensing as a result, this is a really good way to maintain that information. And you can get the expiration, you can set the expiration dates, so you can run reports across all of your children and make sure that you are always up to date. At any time, you can take an action of actually downloading that form as a PDF and printing it out. So, if your licensing analyst did want you to have a paper copy, it's really easy for you to do that as well. You can also see that I'm actually showing you this from the family side. And so you see my children on the left hand. This is just an option for family members to also upload forms. So again, it's not putting the pressure on you to maintain that, but it's really simple for family members to see when things have expired. And so they can keep them up to date or assist you with keeping them up to date as well. Another one of our loved features is our really simple sign in and attendance feature. So you can change these settings depending on the steps that you want to take. So if you want digital signature turned on, you can turn it on. If you want it turned off, you can turn it off. If you want the QR code to refresh every 3 hours, you can turn on our quick scan refresh. So it really customizes that check-in experience. Be the same thing for things like health screens. So if you wanted to ask, no fever, no cough, no shortness of breath, you could turn that on to collect as well. We really just want to make sure it's customizable to fit your needs. And then this all syncs in real time. So if a family member is checking in at the front, you can see this room check is automatically updating when they're scanning that QR code. So everything is synced, everything is real time. You could again be off-site and still get the real-time information. You can also then run a report. So you'd be able to see the student, the room, the check-in time, the date, the signature, and then the total hours the student was there. It's really simple to run these and to export them as needed. Another awesome part is just having all of your messaging, your alerts in one single place and not having to use your personal phone number. Prior to switching to Brightwheel, actually, I've been here for about 2.5 years now, but before that, I actually helped home-based providers get their program started. And something that I would hear all the time is, I use my personal cell phone for everything. And so it's really hard to then turn off at the end of the night. So being able to use an app like Brightwheel can allow you to separate that parent messaging and have it live in the app rather than on your personal cell phone or your personal cell phone number. So what you can do here is all of your messaging, sort of very similar to the way you would do instant messaging. You can also send PDF updates. You can use SMS alerts this way as well. So if you have an emergency, maybe the child's sick, you need the parent to come pick them up. This is another great way to notify families. You can also use our templates to create newsletters. This is a really loved feature, but it's super simple to drag and drop photos, add the content you need, and then it's a really, you can see on this hand side, a nice and professional way to share updates with families. It doesn't take you more than, 5 minutes to pull together. Okay, and then this is our activities tool. So the ability for you to track different activities. You can track photos, videos, food for CACFP, nap, potty. Kudos is like a behavior management tool. There's custom if there's something we're not thinking of, medication, health check, incident, really whatever you need. But you can either choose to select just the children you've checked in so far that day, select all children, even ones that have been marked absent, select a single child. I'll show you here if I select a single child. So Gabriella, I'm doing a health check here. It's going to automatically timestamp me. I can add in the temperature. Staff only means I just want to keep this internal for my own tracking purposes. I don't need families to get that notification, so I can keep that checked. If I uncheck it, it's going to share it like you'll see on this side. It becomes almost like a news feed. If you've used Instagram or Facebook, for example, it'll have everything that you tracked for that child throughout the day. This is also really great if you have like a divorced household and, maybe dad is responsible for dropping Gabriella off at school this week. Mom is able to receive a notification that Gabriella was checked in by dad at 9:15 a.m. So it's a really awesome way to engage families. You can also share photos and videos through the platform. It's really easy to select a single child, select all children. When it's added to the newsfeed, family members can also really easily just download the video and save it to their device. So this is also really loved by families that they can easily do that. Another awesome setting is if you do like sheets basically at the end of the day where you're checking how many times they went to the bathroom, all the things we did today, and you're sending those home. They can be time consuming, but you can turn on a setting that says send daily report when child checks out. So when the family member checks out their child, they automatically receive a daily report, which is essentially an email of everything that you tracked and recorded for that child throughout the day. So you don't have to do anything. It just will automatically send that to them. Another awesome feature is the document hub and the school calendar. So the document hub allows you to very easily share flyers and updates and handbooks, menus, whatever it is, with families. You just drag and drop the file here. You can select, okay, I want to share it with the whole program. I just want to share it with specific families. And then they'll receive a notification that a new file has been added. They can access it, they can download it, they can print it. So instead of you having to spend money on ink and paper, which we know can be pretty expensive now, this enables you to not have to do that. There's also a school calendar. So it's very similar to like a Google Calendar. You can add all different types of events. You can choose to keep those events internally, just share them with staff or share them with families. This is an example of what the calendar could look like on a family side. They'd be able to see all the upcoming events, those that have happened in the past, just so that they're prepared for what's coming. Okay, we do also have menus, meal planning, and CACFP. So you can very easily create menus within the Brightwheel platform. You can then track your instance when you're serving to children. So you're able to select, okay, the time, the food. You can add this. It's really not necessary for CACFP, but you can say like they ate all the food, some of it, most of it, none of it. You can add your items, but it's really cool. If you build your menus in Brightwheel, it will automatically sync your meal items for when you're tracking the meal. So you're not having to then write everything that you serve the child. It'll automatically sync from what's on your menu. You can also add any notes, and then you can press done, and it will actually send that record to the family member. You can also pull CACFP reports at the end of the week, the end of the day, and you have all that, or the end of the month, and you have all that information that you need. Okay. I'm going quickly, and I know Daniel said the same thing, but I highly suggest that you also book time with one of our team members to learn about, all of the functionality in case I don't get to everything. But here's billing and payments. Billing and payments is definitely our most robust feature. So the ability for you to automate all of your billing and make sure you get paid in full and on time. This home screen will show you at a glance payments that were made in the last 35 days, those that were paid online, so through the Brightwheel platform, those that were paid offline. So if you have a family member that just wants to pay cash and just will not engage with Brightwheel, we still encourage you to track that offline payment in the app. They'll still receive a receipt for that payment. And then it's really awesome for you during tax time. You have all of your payments, irrespective on whether they actually paid through the platform or not. You're also able to see any open invoices. You can see what's past due, what's not yet due or upcoming. And you can actually dig in and see reasons why the payment might be past due as well. You can also set during certain billing plans. The really cool thing about this is you're not having to do it over and over again. We always say for billing, you absolutely set it and forget it. You do it one time and you never touch it again. What you're able to do here is create all different billing plans. You can do like monthly, daily, weekly, attendance-based, bi-weekly, really whatever it is. You can select their pay date, and then you can add as many students as you want to that certain bill plan. So maybe you have like a toddler bill plan, infant bill plan, a drop-in care bill plan, depending on what you set up. This allows you to do that. We also have this really cool new feature that was based on feedback we received from our providers, was that sometimes in families, not one person is paying the entire cost of the tuition. So this awesome tool allows you to actually split that payment across multiple payers. So maybe dad is paying one piece and then grandpa pays some and then grandma pays some. You could add as many payers as you want to a child's profile and split that tuition across the payers. It will send them just the portion that they're responsible for, and they can pay that amount. This really is super flexible and hopefully will meet the needs of all of your families so that you can receive all of your payments through Brightwheel. We also, similarly to the way that you can add multiple payers to split payments, in a lot of systems, subsidies is completely separate. It's like its own tool. In Brightwheel, subsidies lives within our greater billing platform. So it really just makes it seamless. You can, the same way you'd add a separate payer, you could also add an agency to a student's profile. This is really great if you do co-pays, for example. You'd be able to add that information and very seamlessly track that as well. So you can see this toddler, we added the state of New York as an agency. You can add all the different agencies that you want. You can have as many as you need, and then you can assign students to that agency. You can also track, this is the amount that I was expecting to receive from the agency. And then once you receive a certain amount, you can actually log that. And then you'll see how much is left over, and you can make a decision of, charge the family the remainder, eat the cost, or follow up with the agency. And so it allows you really clear visibility into what's happening. And so you can run a seamless report. You can even filter by children on subsidy versus children not on subsidy. So you really understand the full view of your financials. Tax reports. So we get this question a lot. Tax time can be very stressful. So this is the opportunity for you to be able to run a tax report. For basically, parents can go into their account, they can select the time period, and they can download the report for themselves. This is kind of a blurred out view of what a parent account looks like. You can see all of if you have multiple children or siblings, they'll all be attached to the same account, and then they can download it as well. So it takes that off your plate and puts that on the parents. Okay, next I want to talk about admissions really quickly. And so what this allows you to do is all of your forms. So there's 3 different types of forms that you can do: a registration form, a questionnaire, a contract, which also allows you to get a digital signature, or a document request. So if there's like a specific form where you need sort of an outside signature, like a doctor, for example, the document request is a really great way to gather all of that information. So when you create your admissions process, you're able to customize it however you want. So for this program, they were doing summer enrollment. They had 4 students that they wanted to go through the enrollment process. There are 7 steps here. So an example might be step 1 is a admissions form. Step 2 is an immunization record. Step 3 is a field trip form. Step 4 is a tuition agreement. Whatever it is, you can set it up however you want. And then once you set it up, all you're doing is adding students to that admissions flow. And then you can just see them complete all of the files without you having to bother them. The system just takes them right through that process. And you're able to see here, oh, Joe's family is doing awesome. They've completed all their forms. Kevin's haven't started. Maybe I'll send them a message, or the system will continue to remind them itself. Here are the examples, as I kind of mentioned, the different types of forms that you can create. This is an example of the registration form where you can select as many fields as you want. You can change the order. You can delete the ones you don't want them to fill out. You can add additional sections. You can create a custom section. So if there's something we didn't think of that you want to be able to collect. The really great thing here is that when parents fill out these fields, it will automatically take that information and it'll populate their student profile. So you're not having to transfer it over yourself. It's going to automatically create the profile in the Brightwheel application. And here's kind of an example of what it will look like on the family side. So it's really professional. It's nice and simple, and they can very easily engage with the tool. Okay, what I want to show you really quickly is also what we call link access. So if you have a website, a Facebook page, Google My Business, a Yelp, or anything that you use to promote your business, and right now you just have your phone number or an email address and you say, call me, reach out to me. Instead, you can use our live link form to create an interested family form. So you can see this one right here. It says, thank you for your interest in my program. And I made it link access, which basically means it becomes a live link. I can copy the link. I can attach it to my website. So if you have an apply now button or contact me, you can instead link this form. So parents can fill out, or family members can fill out the fields that you have, and then your interested family will just automatically pop up on your admissions dashboard. So it's an awesome way to connect whatever marketing or promotion that you have, whether it be a website, Google My Business, Yelp, Facebook, directly into your Brightwheel application. So it's a very seamless process. From there, if you're full, you can add them to your wait list. You can give them a certain position, and then maybe you do end up having an opening for them. You can very easily change the option to enroll, and it takes them through the enrollment process. You can also use our capacity planning tool to understand where there's availability, so that you can see and make sure you're really maximizing your enrollment as well. Okay, next, education. I'm going to fly through this, but we also have a full learning platform. So the ability for you to do lesson plans in here. You can see high level the activities that you've created. So for example, on Wednesday, we're doing a large group. We're going to focus on drama, gross motor, social relationships. It's really good for you to just know high level what you're working on. But then when you click in on the app, you're able to see the specifics. You can see the description. You can see the supplies that are needed. You can also turn on a setting. So you can put Kansas learning standards so that it links and connects to the state learning standards when you track your observation. So here's an example on the left-hand side. If you're doing a small group and you have, 3 children with you, let's say, you can attach the milestone. You can record whether you saw that observation. This is Montessori as an example, but you could do just observed or unobserved based on that milestone. And then that's happening in real time, which will then allow you to run learning reports so you can see everything that the children across your program have worked on. You can export this, download it, print it. You can also do it per child. So if you want it for like a parent teacher conference, or you just want to send it home as a, look what we've been working on, this is a really awesome tool as well. We do have what we call student portfolios, which is coming soon as one of our new releases, which is actually going to pull everything that you're tracking in Brightwheel so far, including videos, photos, notes, observations, and create this sort of end of the year, end of unit portfolio that you can build within Brightwheel and share with families. If you want, we do also have a full curriculum that can be populated into the Brightwheel platform. So you're not having to use another tool for curriculum. So everything I've showed you so far up to this point is completely included. If you do want to, though, you can add on this additional curriculum piece, which is aligned with all 50 states, Common Core, Head Start. You can see this little box. All the materials you need are delivered to your door the first of every month. So you have everything you need to actually implement the lessons as well. So this is a really cool, being a prior teacher myself, I get the boxes delivered to my apartment, and I just absolutely, I'm blown away by how many materials you get. This is just an example. Then the materials will align with what's in the Brightwheel platform as well. So you have the materials you need and you have the lessons. You don't have to do any prep work. Okay. Keep going. We do also have staff management and messaging. So we do have the ability to sign staff in and out the same way that you do with students, which I showed you, you can do with staff. You're then able to run a payroll report, which will show you all of the information that you need that you can then download or export. You can also do staff messaging to create environment within your staff or to share updates. And then you can use your staff schedules to understand availability and space within your program. Okay, and then this is a very new update coming soon. We also have integration with payroll systems. So instead of you having to run payroll separately, you can do that in Brightwheel and have all the information you need, and it will connect to your payroll provider. Coming soon. Just an example. Okay, and then to wrap up, a few more slides. Custom reports, we have a bunch of reports that just exist within the platform that you can download and use as needed, but you can also build these custom reports. If there's any field within Brightwheel that you're interested to run a report on, you can utilize this feature to make sure it's custom to your program. And again, you can download, export, print the report as you need. Also, if you happen to have multiple locations, you can use our multi-site features to toggle between all locations within a single login. So this is a really great way to be able to manage multiple sites if that's relevant to you. Okay, the last thing I'll say here is that we are widely used throughout the state, really loved by providers, and are really excited about the opportunity to be able to support programs. So if you are interested, I highly recommend you reach out and book some time with my team members. I'll show you their information at the end. I won't spend too much time here, because I know there's probably a good amount of questions, but I did ask some programs that we're currently using Brightwheel when we found out we would get to have this awesome opportunity of 14 months for free. And all of the glowing reviews were just really exciting to see about how it really transformed the way that they ran their programs. And then the last few things I'll say is that we have a little bit of a benefit that we're a really large company at this point, because we've been around for a really long time, which allows us to have a ton of staff that's around to support you. So everyone will get their own onboarding coach. You'll have someone that will become your person and will take you through adopting the platform. Once you've reached the point of adoption, you also will get an engagement specialist and a billing specialist. So if your billing needs are really unique, or you feel nervous about adopting billing, you can work with our billing specialist to customize your experience. Our engagement specialist is there if we release new features and you're like, wow, I just need a little bit of support understanding that new feature. You can reach out to them and they're there to really make sure that you're loving your experience. We see like less than 2% ever leave once they use Brightwheel. So they really, really love it. And we think it has a really, positive impact on your program. So overall, I just wanted to show some faces to who might, be reaching out to you. These are two of my team members. They both come from the classroom and are really, really excited to be able to tell you more about this exciting opportunity. These are their direct numbers. You can text them. They're happy to get in touch with you. You can give them a call. You can schedule a time to learn more, ask any additional questions, or those are their email addresses as well. And I'll put mine in the chat too if you have any questions for me. But yeah, that is it. I'll stop there.
Okay, so we've had quite a few questions pop up in the chat box. I'm going to do my best to get all of them, but Montana will help me if I miss any. Really quick though, before I go into the Q&A section on here, we have had quite a few of you ask about the subscription. If you already have an existing subscription that you are paying for with Brightwheel, how does that work? Are you still eligible? So I will start by saying that yes, even if you have an existing subscription with Brightwheel, you are still eligible for the 14 months that Child Care Aware of Kansas will pay for it. We are working with Brightwheel at this time as far as a list of providers that already had an existing subscription. So if you're continuing with that, we're working with Brightwheel on a transition for Child Care Aware of Kansas to take over those payments for 14 months. At this time, we don't have a date for when that will happen, but we will notify you. Brightwheel will notify you that as of whatever date, Child Care Aware of Kansas will take over those payments for you. So a couple of you have asked if you have to close your old account and start a new account. Please don't do that. And Katie, you can chime in if I'm incorrect here, but keep the account that you have. Everything will move forward the way it has been. And at some point, like I said, Child Care Aware of Kansas will transition to take over those payments. We're just working on how exactly that's going to work, what that's going to look like on the back end. So.
Yeah, so just like a slight update there in case this is helpful. I have a form that I'm putting in the chat here. If you fill out this form and you put in the email address that you're using in your current Brightwheel subscription and you add your license so we can verify that you're a licensed program, we're able to go in and at least pause your payments so you won't get charged anymore in the interim until we get the green light from Child Care Aware of Kansas to actually fully transition you over to the 14 months. So as soon as you fill that out, we're seeing about 24 hours. So if you fill it out tonight, I will absolutely get it by tomorrow morning. And I will go in and just put a temporary pause on your charge. And then we can get you transitioned to the 14 months. Yeah, we don't want you to be charged if you don't need to be.
Yeah, and we, like I said, we're working out the finer points of how all that will work on the back end, but we definitely do not cancel your subscription to start a new one. We don't want you to lose anything. So just like Katie said, I don't know if you dropped it in there, but we will also grab it out of the chat and we will send a follow-up email in case you miss it or have any trouble with the chat. Kim, if you'll grab it out of the chat box just so we have it on our end, but we will make sure that we will take over those payments. We're just not entirely sure the timeline at this point. So, okay, so, oh, did you have something else?
Sorry, one really quick thing. I saw Kathy said I was just charged yesterday. I put my email in the chat. Email me. We'll put in for reimbursement. Make sure you get your money back.
Okay, so that's at the bottom. I didn't quite see that. So,
yeah.
Okay, so we'll go through the questions. Montana will help me if I miss any because there's been a lot of activity. So the first question that I see that I think is related to Brightwheel is, can the menu be sent directly to a sponsor? So as far as CACFP and menus.
Yeah, so very similar to the way that Daniel mentioned how they're trying to work with food program sponsors. We are also in the sort of the same active conversations. If your sponsor is not using like a specific software and they're open to accepting menus and CACFP reports, our reports are downloadable and exportable, and you can absolutely share that with them. If you would like to make an introduction to us and we can talk them through the platform, we're more than happy to do that as well. But right now we don't have any like integration with KidCare, for example, to be able to automatically share the information. That's actually the dream. We're sort of in those active conversations, but it's not complete at this time.
So the next one is, I'm currently on the legacy learning feature. When will the new learning resource come to my account? And then how much additional is the experience curriculum?
So for the legacy learning platform, feel free to send me an email directly and I can get your account switched right away. But we're basically doing it in small batches, just in case you have a lot of like lessons already populated. We don't want programs to have that shock of not having what they were comfortable with before learning the new one. So that's why we're slowly and gradually changing it. But the new one is absolutely live. And so if you would like to be transitioned, feel free to reach out to me and I can make that happen for you. For the cost of experience curriculum, it's going to change depending on what you want. So there are 3 different types of curriculum. There's infant, toddler, and preschool. So depending on the age of your children, there's different types that you might be interested in. What we can do is get you like a custom meeting with someone who can walk you through how many students you have and what that price would be for you. The pricing is unique depending on how many children you have, because for example, if you had 11 children, we'll send a kit for each child each month so that you have all the materials you need for all the lessons.
Okay, so I'm kind of jumping around, but this next question is related to what you were talking about. I don't currently have the education portion. Can I add it?
Yeah, so it's possible. I'm curious on the free. You should have it, and you might have the old one. But again, send me an email and I will absolutely switch you over. It's also possible a lot of programs have reached out over the last week and said, oh, I have Brightwheel, but they're actually on our free version, which doesn't have all of the features that I'm showing you today. So if you have premium, you'll get everything with this partnership. And so we can absolutely upgrade your account to the premium subscription.
Okay, so the next one, kind of going in a random order here. Will we be able to track our accounting items like expenses such as utilities and other business expenses?
So right now we don't have sort of like a expense feature based on things like utilities. However, it is on our roadmap and something that we are currently scoping to add. Right now we have like a integration or compatibility with QuickBooks. And so a lot of our programs will use Brightwheel and transfer their information directly from Brightwheel to QuickBooks. But we know that's a gap and we're building it.
Is Brightwheel used more for centers versus in-home daycares?
That's a good question. It is almost actually like our customer base skews more home-based. So no is the answer, even though I do get that question a lot. We do also have the free version. And so as a result, a lot of in-home providers use our free version. And so that's another option for like long-term maintenance. If after the 14 months, you really just need like some of the features and not all of them. So I think that's why we often have a lot of home-based providers, because they can switch back and forth between premium and free, depending on what they need.
I think, Montana, did I miss any questions or did I get all of the ones out of the chat? I think I got them all.
The only other one I see is how much does the additional experience education cost, but does that tie in with the experience curriculum?
Yeah, that's the same. That's the same
Okay.
thing. So absolutely can get you scheduled for that as needed. I see another question about the subscription cost after the 14 months. So if you're an in-home program, it can range anything from $20 a month if you're like a small in-home program to $50 a month if you're a larger in-home program. And then based on that for centers, it's based on the number of students you have enrolled. And so if that's needed, feel free to reach out and I can give you a custom quote.
So I think then that was all the questions out of the chat box. So does anybody want to come off of mute and ask Katie questions?
I kind of had the same questions for you.
Oh, I think Glenda froze.
One thing, well, maybe we would wait for Glenda if she unfreezes, is I know the billing fees were a question. So I just, oh, Glenda, are you back? I think you froze for a second. You have your question.
Okay. Yeah, I'm back. Okay.
Okay.
I didn't hear your question. If you can ask
So
it
can I
again.
start from the entering information from the beginning of the year? So when I print out at the end of the year for parents to have everything?
Yeah, so your billing specialist will help you put in payments that have been made up like to now, and they can basically zero them out and mark, like you can basically pay for the invoice so that by the time you start, all of your information is accurate for when you run end of the year reports. That we basically would consider them offline payments, and then you can just make the payment towards that and it would show as being paid.
Okay. And then do you have like one location where we could like look at instructions and a guidebook, or do we have to do the classes and look each thing up on the help menu?
Yeah, so there's sort of three different ways that you can engage. One is like live. So if you want to attend like a live session with someone like myself who can walk you through a custom section. The next one is something called Brightwheel Academy, which is like an online tool that you can take at your own pace. And they're just like little videos that you can watch and it takes you through everything. There's also one for families too. So that's great if you want to be able to train your families as well as teachers. And then there is a help center. So very similar to what Daniel showed you, we have sort of the same help center with all the articles. And so you can print out those help center articles if you'd prefer it on paper. And so those are other sort of like the three options that you can select.
And I'll throw in a shameless plug there. Childcare Aware Kansas, our regional community consultants have gone through training as well on how to use Brightwheel, and as well as Playground. So we're by no means experts, but we're also available to help you out with some things too. If we don't know the answer, we have contacts that we can reach out to or help get you those answers. But there are some things that we are able to help with as well.
One other thing, my sponsor for the food program is the Positive Bright Start. Are they one that you are working with to get switched over from Kid Care?
I have not been connected to them, but I wrote it down and I can absolutely reach out.
And that's in Lawrence, Kansas.
There's another question about the CACFP2, the myfoodprogram.com. Is that one you're linked to?
So not yet. So that's a separate like sponsor tool. And so if your sponsor requires you to put the information into myfoodprogram.com, at this time, you have to continue to do so. However, we're more than happy to have a conversation with them about how all the data that they input, we'd be able to export from our platform and provide that with them directly, to them directly.
And Glenda, you kind of cut out. I didn't mean to interrupt. Did you have more questions, or were those your only questions? It's always hard with Zoom. I'm never sure if I should talk or if they're frozen or if I'm never sure. I think
Did you answer the question about who uses Brightwheel more, large child care facilities or home daycare?
Yeah, so it actually skews more to home-based providers. Well, I say that, but we're almost like a 60-40 split. So we're almost 50-50, but it actually does lean more towards in-home. And I mentioned that I think because we have the free tool, a lot of in-home providers sign up that way through the free version and then slowly upgrade to our premium when they feel comfortable with the platform. We do also have relatively low fees, the billing fees, and that's another thing I just want to call out. The credit card fee is 2.9%, and our ACH fee is 25 cents minimum and $2 maximum, depending on how you bill. So if you bill weekly, it's really going to skew towards a good option for you because you'll be closer to that 25 cents for ACH. If you bill like annual, it's going to be closer to that $2 because it's a large sum, because it's actually a percentage of your bill. And so we did it that way. So it's like a range depending on how you charge families. All right. And then there are no costs to actually use the platform for families. They can absolutely download it, utilize it. They can engage, they can send photos back to you. So it's a really great tool that's completely free for them. And very similarly, the fee can either be taken on by you as the provider, or you can pass that fee to a family. And that's a setting that you can turn on. We also have quick pay. It's the last thing I'll say about the billing. So Brightwheel actually fronts the fees, or it fronts the payments. So for ACH, sometimes it can take like 7 to 10 days once we charge a bank to actually hit your account. And we know that's like a really long time to go without your tuition. So we actually will pay you the next business day. So if a family's charged and we still have to wait 7 or 10 days for Brightwheel to get the money, Brightwheel will actually pay you all as providers the next day. And so we do like a quick pay benefit for our premium customers.
So if they pay on a Friday, do you pay the following Monday?
That is correct. So it's next business day. So Friday to Monday, because we're actually having to go in and pay you from our system. And so that's how, but if they paid on Monday, you'd get it on Tuesday.
So there's a question here, and I'm not sure if you addressed this or not. Also, you mentioned a small income fee versus a large home fee. How many kid enrollment for each fee? Was that part of what you?
If you are less than 10, it's going to be in the $20 to $25 range. If you are more than 10, it's going to be the $50 side. Your moment.
Anybody have any other questions for Katie?
So if your enrollment drops down, does the fee change?
So it's really based on license capacity, but we try to be like accommodating. So if you came to us and said, oh my gosh, I'm licensed for 14, but I am really struggling with enrollment, I'm only at 7, our support team can support you with changing the fee until your enrollment gets back up.
Any other questions? No, it's getting kind of late, kind of close to bedtime, so. Or ice cream time, whatever you do at 8:30 at night, no judgment.
Hiding the ice cream from your own kids, right?
Well, the kids go to bed and then you have ice cream. You gotta do what you gotta do. So any other questions? And I again, just like with Daniel earlier, if you guys have questions that come to you later, or you think of something after you disconnect, because that's usually the way my brain works, you can reach out to your regional community consultant, let them know what your question was, and we will definitely pass it on and get it answered. We are downloading the chat after we are done here this evening, so we will go back through and make sure that we've addressed all the questions. If there's something that we couldn't or didn't answer, then we will definitely follow up with you after the webinar. We're holding another one tomorrow at nap time as well. So it'll probably be a little bit later in the week, but we will definitely follow up if we missed anything, or if you come up with a question when we're done here. So last chance to ask Katie questions before she has to leave. I said ice cream, and that's probably now nobody's paying attention to questions, right? So Katie, I apologize for distracting them. So All right,
No.
so thank you very much for joining us, Katie, and sharing with our providers this evening. Like I said, if anything comes up, we will definitely pass on those questions to you. And Katie's email that she has dropped in here, the form that she has dropped in here, we will snag that out of the chat and we will share that with you as well. So again, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We appreciate your time and we will see you tomorrow.
Thank you all. Have a great rest of your night. Bye.
Okay, so it's been about 2 hours. We said we'd keep you guys here until about 8:30. Brightwheel and Playground have done their presentation, so we really don't have anything else to share. If you have any questions that have come to you now that Katie's off, if you want to drop them in the chat, you're welcome to do that. If you're ready to go have ice cream and or go to bed, you're welcome to do that. We will follow up, like I said, at the end of the week with the recording and answers to any questions that we may have missed or anything else you come up with. So enjoy your evening, enjoy your ice cream, enjoy your treat, whatever you got to do before bed, enjoy it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
You too.
I'm going and getting ice cream. It'll be a good night.